All right, VectorVest, what's up? It's Wednesday. Happy hump day, everyone. Welcome to the channel. If you're new, my name is Ryan, by the way. And tonight, I've got some great information to share with you. I always try to keep you on the right side of the market. I try to make these videos not too long. No one wants to watch a 20, 30-minute video on stocks by any means. But I try to give you the right information in under 10 minutes so that way you can stay on the right side of the market. Now, with the inflation data report coming out a little softer than expected, if you've been watching the channel, especially if you're a subscriber here, I'm not surprised by this. I've showed you article after article, things like Target, Walmart, McDonald's, Wendy's, all trying to lower their prices for consumers over the last several months. So I'm not surprised in the downtick of this inflation data at all. So tonight's presentation, we're going to jump into a chart of CPI data so that we can really get an understanding of what's going on. Just instead of looking at individual data points, we're going to look at trends, channels, trend lines. We're going to analyze it just like what we do any other stock or any other chart. On top of that, we're going to take a look at the market. That's right, we're going to take a look at QQQ, SPY, and the broad market indicator that we utilize here, the VectorVest composite. Now, before we jump into the software, I just want to take a quick poll here. Put in the comment section a 1 if you thought inflation was going to drop today, or put a 2 in the comment section if you thought inflation was going to tick even higher. Now, let's get into the software, look at the chart so that way I can give you a non-biased opinion of what the market is doing. All right, I told you we're going to jump right into it. Not playing games today, just here to try to keep you on the right side of the market and give you the big picture when it comes to this inflation data. Now you can see here, I got the green line, that represents the CPI. Down below this red line here represents the T-bill note. So let's give you a little history of what's going on. Back at the beginning of COVID, you could see the interest rates dropping off a cliff along with the CPI data here, with all the concerns there. And those interest rates remained near zero for quite some time. Now the problem started is right here when CPI data went above this yellow line. That represents the Fed's 2% target. Now, the reason why everyone's saying that the Fed was late, you see that was April 2021. Look at the interest rates. They didn't start rising until the beginning of the following year in 2022. Now, the CPI data got its high back in July 22nd of 2022. You can see CPI came in at 9.1%, way above the Fed's target. Everyone has been feeling the pain of that. And you can see the interest rates here rapidly climbing as the Federal Reserve played catch up. Now, shortly after, the CPI has came down quite a bit. And this is what we're going to focus on today. This is the channel that we're currently sitting in here. The top of this channel I have at 3.7%. The bottom of the channel is at 3%. Now the blue line represents today's CPI data coming in at 3.3. Now I'm going to treat this just like a chart here. Now if I scroll back, you can see two touches getting close to this 3% here. So I'm kind of looking at this as a level of support. So if you want to be bullish on the market, everybody wants the CPI data to drop. This is the target I'm seeing here, the bottom side of this channel at 3%. Now, if CPI can get below this, I see interest rate cuts on the table relatively soon, right? Now, if I see CPI data stay within this channel, we're most likely going to get the higher for longer that we've been hearing from Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve. Now, if we break above this channel at 3.7%, that is when interest rate hikes potentially could be back on the table. Now, again, I'm not the Federal Reserve. I'm just looking at it from a chart perspective and an economic standpoint here, and that is the data I'm seeing. We zoom in here to the last year. We can see that the report back in April here, which would have been March's report, that was at 3.5%. Back in May, which would have been April's report, was 3.4%. And with the new report here, it's not going to show right now because the data is not going to update until this afternoon in the VectorVest software, but we see it at 3.3. Two reports showing that the CPI data is softening makes me very bullish on the market right now, especially in growth stocks, semiconductors, AI, all that stuff. This is great news for those type of companies. So now let's go ahead and check the market and see what it's doing before you just buy any positions at this time. This right here is the home page of the software. Depending on what kind of device you're watching this on, you're probably not going to be able to see this all too well, especially on a mobile device. But the big things here is the major indices, they're all up to date. And if you've watched this channel, and if you're a VectorVest subscriber, you already know one day does not make a trend. However, if we look over the color guard, you can see the first green light here. If I scroll down, and quite some time we don't even have a green light, even going back to May 24th here. So I'm seeing some optimism in the market from the CPI report, even leading up to the report. Over in the trend column, we do see an up in the first component since yesterday, and that refers to the primary wave. Now, the primary wave, simply put, just looks at the VectorVest composite. Again, that's the broad market. We're tracking over 9,000 stocks. It is trending higher than it was 5 days ago. Therefore, if you're more aggressive jumping into the market, or at least, tiptoeing into the market today, probably not too shocked if you're already doing that. However, if we see some follow through tomorrow, that means I am definitely going to be more optimistic and bullish in the market, at least for the next few weeks, as I am a data dependent person, just like the Federal Reserve. I don't like to put on price points way out there just because the world can change ever so quickly. First up, we got the SPY for the S&P 500 here. Now, if you've been watching the videos, been watching the channel here, now a couple things. This red line represented a potential double top formation. However, you can see price action broke above that position here. Reason why I'm really bullish right now is look at this. We got a nice retest on that level. In addition, some buying pressure here. You see the bottom wick. And shortly after, off to the races. All of my moving averages here, 3, 8, and 20-day exponential moving averages in our favor. S&P just hit a new high, breaking out of the consolidation we saw over the last few trading weeks leading up to the CPI report. For all those holding NVIDIA, the AI, the semiconductors, I know you probably watch the Qs just to see what the general, the NASDAQ 100 is doing. Same kind of scenario here. We saw that double top potential possibly forming from that video, about a month or so ago. However, a nice break right above it. Same retest, strong buying pressure here. And look, right on this trend line. That's a perfect bullish situation here. We broke this downward trend line. Nice retest on this trend line, nice retest on this level support. Shortly after, just like the S&P 500, off to the races. All the moving averages in our favor, just hit a new high from today's positive CPI report. So again, you can see why I'm more bullish than bearish at this time. Now, this chart a little bit different than the others because this does have over 9,000 stocks. If you're new to the channel, it's like combining the S&P, the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, the Russell, a lot of these stocks all compiled into one. So it gives you a better sense of the overall broad market. Now, since that double top formation, we got the retracement here. Moving averages showed that bearish momentum. And look, we got a wedge formation showing indecision or some consolidation and price action leading up to that CPI report as of today. We see a nice bullish candlestick here, a little bit of a wick up at the top, but look at the moving averages. The 3 just crossed above the 8, and the 8-day is now greater than the 20-day, thus leading to a brand new bullish crossover of these moving averages in the VectorVest composite. Again, I'm very bullish on the market at this time. All right, VV Nation, you heard what I had to say. If you like the chart I did with CPI and you think that's going to be helpful, understanding the Federal Reserve, type in CPI in the comments. So, each inflation report, we put out a video like this just to make sure you keep yourself on the right side of the market, as that's the biggest thing moving the market right now. Everyone wants these interest rate cuts, especially the stock market right now. Growth stocks, things of that nature, they thrive when interest rates are lower. So if you're new to the channel, if this is your first time watching the channel, my objective here is always to educate you. That's really what we do here at VectorVest, so that way you can make better informed decisions. Now, tomorrow, I am doing a video on NVIDIA's options. If that's something that you're interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that way you'll get the notification for tomorrow's 6 p.m. video. Good night.